run. One of the things that I remember with my wife was that in order for me to come out full-time, I had to have her go back to work full-time. And that was a big decision. Now, it didn't start the day that I asked her, honey, can you go back to work? Please. Here's a chair here. There's a couple of chairs in the front. Now, one of the things that we did and that I sold her on and promised her, I said, if you go back to work, I'll make sure one day you never have to work again. That was the first promise I made her. I mean, I opened up a big can of worms with that one. Then I said, every day that I'm not speaking, I'll be here at 2:30 to help the kids with their homework. I said, I'll cook and I'll clean and I'll do all the housework. Now, when she comes home, some days I have an apron on. And she walks in with her briefcase and she sits it down. And sometimes I'm standing there with tears in my eyes. And she'll say, what's wrong, EJ? I said, you just don't understand. I said, I cleaned up and these kids have messed up. I said, now, I know I just put the food away. And they've come right behind me and dirtied the table. She'll go, yeah, okay. Then I'll say, dinner is almost ready, but this is too much for me to do. She'll go, okay. Then I said, when you come home, all you want is for me to look good and have my hair done. Then you put your briefcase down and expect to eat dinner. Then to top everything off, honey, you pat me on the butt and tell me to go up to the room so you can have your way with me. And she said, that's right, get up there right now. Okay. Yes, ma'am. I'll go if you say so. I told her the other day, I said, one day the milk lady is going to come by because you're taking me for granted. And I sit by the door and wait for the post office lady, telling her all my problems. One day in 1992, I sat down and I wrote out some of my goals. I started with wanting to speak around the world and wanting to write a book. I was afraid to write it down because it intimidated me. Just the fact that I was talking about coming from Ida B. Wells projects, and now I was saying that one day I wanted to speak around the world. Imagine that. You have a goal sheet in front of you that I've handed you. If you don't have one, we'll get one to you. I want everyone to take one moment and first of all, be honest with yourself. How many of you have a goal that you want to accomplish something? Raise your hand. Because some of us don't have goals. Now, goals are those tracks that the train runs on. Goals are those things that set you up. Just like Robbie was saying earlier, what do you want to do this year? What is it that you want to accomplish? What I would like for everyone to do is to take a moment, and if you have a pen, a pencil, just to write that in. What is it that you want to do? Something that's a dream, something that's far enough away that you haven't accomplished it yet. And if you don't have it, just think about it. Then I'd like for you to put down on here the date that you're going to start whatever it is that you want to do. 3 years ago when I wrote down I wanted to write a book, I tried to figure every way I could not to write it myself. I started calling people up, asking them, could I find a ghostwriter? Someone had said, it's 750,000 manuscripts written a year. Out of 750,000, only 50,000 of those get published. So imagine 700,000 people's stories go without ever being written. I sat there, I said, wow. I had one young lady, when I told her I wanted to write a book, she said, EJ, I didn't think you could read. How could you write a book? You know, I said, boy, I I went around and one day I called up Mr. Dempsey Travers. Who knows Mr. Dempsey Travers or heard of him? Mr. Travers is known. He's written many books. And he's traveled around the world. And he's one of the top real estate people on the south side of Chicago. And one day, nervously, I called Mr. Travers. I said, Mr. Travers, this is Edge Bassette, sir. I said, you don't know me, but I admire you and I want to write a book. He said, son, how old are you? I said, at the time, I said, I'm 29 years old, sir. He said, let me tell you something. He said, son, I didn't write my first book till I was 45. He said, you're too young to write a book. What do you have to say? He said, about a fact, son, don't waste my time. Then he went into telling me about his life. But I said, but Mr. Sir, he said, son, I have to go. He said, if you were serious, you would just let the pen flow as the words were music. Then he hung up. I was so shaken and so disturbed and so mad that I said, one day I'm going to write this book. I'm going to find that old man and I'm going to knock him right upside the head with it. See, I took a negative and made it a positive. And that's the day that I started understanding that it was going to take me with all my limitations. I knew nothing about the book and publishing industry, nothing. And I started writing on yellow sheets of paper, on notepads. Then I had 50 pages. Then I had 100 pages. And I would carry these notepads everywhere I would go. I'd say, this is my book. And my father would say, man, this guy's snapping. You know, he's at the family picnic with all of these sheets of paper talking about a book. And I would say, Dad, this is you right here. I wrote about you. Then I would run to one of my sisters. This is about you. And they would say, okay, EJ, whatever. For 3 years I did that. Stacked this high full of notepads. Then, after I wrote the thing, I didn't know how to type. And my wife said, well, you have to get this 1,000 pages typed onto the computer. I said, oh, can you do it? She said, yeah, it'll take me about a year, though. We do have 3 kids at home, EJ. So I started going around to the college campuses. And I was writing this book and working full time. And I would write at night, and then my wife would take the kids on the weekend. My little girl, my 5-year-old, that's all she knew. Daddy's working on a book. Her whole life was that. And she didn't know anything else. My son now has just written 3 books. They're 3 pages long. One is called The Bat and the House. And he wrote a story. He sells them for 50 cents a copy. The little guy asked me to edit it for him. I wondered, how did he get that? Where did he get that from? From seeing his father do it. Out of 700,000 manuscripts that's not written, and the 50,000 that are, out of those 50,000, they say only 12 books a year make enough money to buy a car off of. But I'll let you know mine is one of them.
Right. All right.
Now when I sat down and started working on it and calling people, something interesting happened. I started meeting more people and more people and more people. And those people would lead me to other people, and those people would lead me to other people. I put over $20,000 just into the book. Now that goes into another phase. Where did I get the money?